Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we are going to talk about the strength program that I am currently running for 2021. I have been neglecting the strength portion of my training for about a year now since COVID started. When COVID started, I was recovering from doing a 6-month shoot in Romania and I was extremely beat up. So the way that you recover from being extremely beat up is to not do a lot of pure strength for a while. You do a lot more flow stuff. It was a lot more mace, hydrocore, and other things that just don't have that much skeletal load on the body. You have to give your body a time to recover from unregulated stress. Working on a movie is generally unregulated stress. The hours are extremely long. Your sleep schedule is always trash, and you have to show up no matter what. There are no off days. Your off days determined by whoever sets the schedule in production. I let strength go for a while. When the pandemic hit and I ended up out traveling around in order to get out of Los Angeles, I left the strength portion out. Now that I have the Kettlebell Kings double adjustable kettlebells, competition kettlebells, I can have all the strength training requirement that I need. Instead of having 1,200 pounds of bells or 2,000 pounds worth of bells, I can get it all into 144 pounds and it fits in the back seat of the truck and it doesn't take up enough weight to actually disrupt the function of the truck off-road or anything like that. So we're putting the strength training back in. We're focusing on presses and squats. We are not focusing on deadlift movements for now because the deadlift is generally being covered in my marathon training. Marathon training is all hip hinge, cleans, clean, long cycle snatches. So you are doing extremely light deadlift type movements, posterior chain, hip snaps, but you are doing hundreds of them instead of doing 3 to 5. So there is no deadlift covered in this strength because we are already just hammering our hamstrings and our posterior chain in the other types of training that we're running. See our previous program video for May 2021 in order to see about the other programs. For the strength portion, we are focusing on that press and that squat. There are a couple of ways we could lay this out. Single arm press, single arm squat, and we're throwing in a gamma cast. Single arm press, double front squat, double press, single front squat, or double press, double squat. So there are a lot of ways you could run this program. Currently, I'm focusing on this one. I've done some experimentation over the last month, and if you have as many injuries as I, then you have to determine which one of these will be the best format for you. Single arm press, single arm squat is usually the most economical because it requires the least amount of equipment. Single arm squats are also an excellent ab developer. I'm not leaning this way right now because I actually have 2 competition adjustable kettlebells. I'm doing double front squats. Everything else in all of my training is asymmetrical. Club training, arc training, mace training, slam ball training, and kettlebell marathoning. They're all asymmetrical. So I want my double front squat to be a symmetrical check-in for my body. Make sure I'm not shifting towards my good leg when I train. It forces me to be in the center. There's no way out of a double front squat. I think the double front squat is probably one of the best overall bodybuilders because there's no way out. You can't twist, you can't rotate, you can't do anything. Holding 2 front rack symmetrical kettlebells will force you into good squat position, which is different from a barbell squat position, but a very real type of squat because in the real world, I've never encountered a back squat in years of farming or years of building houses. Maybe you might do some shoulder tosses in BJJ or wrestling, but I don't encounter them in my functional daily life. I always encounter front squats or single-sided front squats or shoulder squats. Shoulder squats are all covered in the slam ball program that I'm currently running, so we don't need them. So we're making this our symmetrical check-in so I can make sure that my hips and my knees are moving about the same. My knees flex differently because I've had so many knee surgeries, so I always have to check that one knee isn't bending more than the other, which will twist my spine, which will twist my lower back, which will eventually cause injury. I am always looking to make my squat pattern better and my knee movement better, and I'm looking for exercises that reinforce good movement patterns, not things that can destroy good movement patterns. The other way you can do it is double press, single front squat. Uses the same amount of equipment. I am not running this one right now because of my asymmetries. A heavy double press isn't working for me right now because I haven't built back up to it. So this is causing me to have some tweaks on one side of my spine. So I'm going to stay away from this for now, and I'm going to solve this problem by adding in light double jerk, not on this day. I'm gonna put the double jerk on a slam ball day because the slam ball doesn't have any big, wide open presses. The double jerk is also gonna help me fill in for not doing push-ups because I don't wanna do push-ups right now. The other way you can do this is double press and double front squat, which is obviously the hardest version of it. This is the most bodybuildy version of it, and that works absolutely fantastic. I just don't wanna do that one right now because I don't wanna run double press and double jerk in the same cycle for me, not for anybody else, for me because of the number of injuries I have from circus training, from dirt biking, from falling off of horses, and from doing martial arts my entire life. This is my safest strategy with the greatest potential for result right now. You'll notice on these days, we also have gamma cast and shield on every one of these days. And that is very simple. We are adding a rotation to help counteract any of the single-sidedness that you may be encountering. We're adding that standing upper body rotation, forcing the core on even more. Because these are both heaves, moving straight up and straight down, I want to introduce a yaw type movement, rotating about the central axis into all of these, because this particularly helps me from getting hurt when I'm trying to push heavy weights. This allows me a balancing rotational movement to make sure that I'm not twisting when I'm doing these things. So this one has some twist in it, especially if you're pushing heavy weights. Single arm press or single arm heavy clean and press. When you do it with one hand, you kind of turn it into a side press sometimes into a bent press, depending on how heavy it is. And the way your spine moves on the left and right side can affect this press. So we're throwing in the gamma shield cast in order to help us balance our rotation in the entire program. This program is being run every 2 minutes on the minute. 2 minutes for the press, 2 minutes for the squat, 2 minutes for the shield cast. A total of 6 minutes per round. And we're running this program anywhere between 6 and 10 sets. So now imagine if you have one weight for this, one weight for this, and one weight for this. How many ways can you organize weights into just this one format? And then you alter the number of sets. Essentially, we make this program last progressively for at least 6 months until I'm gonna run out of the weights that I have. And then I've already thought of a solution for the double front squat to make it even heavier. But I need to start building this back up because I need to start rebuilding my bodybuilding technique or whatever for summer. What else are you gonna do, right? I always consider stuff like this to be more of a summer activity because pushing heavy weights outside is fun. I tend not to do this stuff so much in the winter. I tend to do more mace and endurance kettlebell training in the cold months because I wanna be warm. It's very simple. I spend a lot of time outside. I do these things based on how much heat they generate. In the hot weather, because you have a long break in between each one of these things, which is the point for strength training, it allows you to cool down a bit. As it gets hotter, I like to do more strength training because you can push heavier weights. You have 30 seconds of activity, 30 seconds to 1 minute of time under tension, and then you get a nice long break. The single arm clean and press is, of course, running as a reverse ladder setup. I'm doing 3-3-2-2-1-1. I'm not pushing it above that right now because I'm turning this into an overall volume cycle from 6 to 10 sets and then altering the weight. So there's a whole way we can set this up, and if anybody wants to know more about that, then we'll write it all down on the board. I probably need a bigger board. It's kind of complicated. Maybe we'll write small. But this is the strength program for now. Deadlift is covered in the hip hinge kettlebell swings and marathoning and in clubbing and in slam ball, so it's not in this program. We are trying to force ourselves into symmetrical hip and knee rotation with the double front squat. I'm focusing on the single arm heavy press for now because I'm going to be alternating it with a light double jerk so I can work on this technique, so I can bring this technique up beyond what my double press used to be. I need to work on my double jerk. So this is a good general plan in order to accomplish the task. We are always trying to get the most benefit for the least amount of economic cost in equipment, for the least amount of injury, so we can train more. The goal is not to hurt yourself. The goal is always to try to remove injury from the equation so you can live a better, more pain-free life. Because who likes to be in pain? I don't.